Welcome back to the Office Marketing Podcast with Mike Swigert, the podcast all about sales tips, mindset, and value bombs. 5 questions to help make your day more productive and learn a thing or two. Here is your host, best-selling author, Mike Swigert.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Office Marketing Podcast. I've got a fun guest today. We're talking about branding, brand strategy. We're talking about amazing, very timely things. I've got Janie Solomon. She's a co-owner of Studio 1011. It is a branding specialty company that works with companies from all different sizes and all different strategies. She's going to talk about a bunch of them today. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, from taglines to content creation to brand development, creative, virtual presence, the evolution of trade shows in this with the impact of the shutdowns. But without further ado, Janie, I really want to welcome you and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Mike, for having me. This is great.
Well, Janie, you have amazing acumen. I really enjoyed our pre-talk. And could you kind of walk us through this evolution? Because you've lived this digital evolution the last couple decades or 3 decades of really seeing it and living it hands-on. Kind of walk us through your branding journey.
Sure. So we started in 1999 as a exclusively exhibit design, trade show design. Now we're trade show design and build and many other things. But at that time, we were busy all the time. And then 9/11 hit, and that kind of changed the course of trade shows and exhibits as we knew them for a period of time. And digital became so important and kind of a new entry for brand and marketing and trade shows. So we became a digital agency as a result of 9/11 and grew into web development. And now here we are for a pandemic, and trade shows are down again. So you have to reinvent yourself once again, and it's back to digital. But the difference is the software has changed. The technology is totally different. You learn a whole new way of doing things. And so now we're doing virtual trade shows kind of there are virtual trade shows that are set up by associations that are cool and accessible, and you get all the information you need. You can chat, it's almost like being in person. But we take it one step further and take your existing booth, or we take an imaginative booth, and we create a 3D world where you can experience really unlimited possibilities. So it's learning about your products or services, watching videos, actually walking into a conference room that's 3D, and you click a button and you are actually having a meeting with your sales consultant from that company, or you can invite people to join you. Like, it's cool how much there is to do with it. It seems like with the pandemic, we don't really have enough time to convince people that this is so awesome. But we also see now that trade shows are coming back, and there will be a hybrid, and where the digital world will still be so more relevant than it ever has been. So it's exciting for us because all this work we've been doing is not for nothing. Mm-hmm. It's like we've become experts on virtual meetings and events. So that's where we are now.
I love it. Even in our pre-talk, we talked a lot about hybrid, but I almost feel like all this hyper digital virtual evolution we've had in the last 13 or 14 months, I'm recording this in spring of 2021, right? We really accelerated a lot of this, but is it so much a hybrid, or is it things we learned that companies are now going to apply to virtual tours of their companies? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think the term hybrid will stick for a while because people have to wrap their heads around not doing face-to-face marketing. It comes easily for some and not so for others. companies who rely on that 3 seconds somebody's coming by your booth in order to get leads, I mean, that's gone. So, and to do exclusively virtual, your audience isn't going to be the same, volume. So you're not getting those leads again. So hybrid will stay for a while, I believe. And then eventually it's just going to be part of how we do things. And it probably won't be called hybrid anymore. It'll probably just be called a trade show.
Okay.
And your trade show is going to be physical and it's going to be digital, and it'll be super cool.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad. I think I'm speaking at about 8 live conferences this fall. And
Wow.
as an oxytocin addict, I really look forward to it. Like I really, if anybody knows, oxytocin is sort of what your brain releases, and it's that connection feeling when you connect with another human being. And as someone who is I've probably exhibited at 150 trade shows in my lifetime, and different sales jobs that I've had. I love that 3 seconds when people walk by. I really do. Yeah. Janie, I live off that. The concept of somebody walking by and being like, hey, how's it going? And starting a conversation, that I love that. I mean, that's.
So the pain people are feeling by not being, I mean, that's their entire way of getting their business, and they're not, that's lost this year. So they'll be coming back with a vengeance, I'm sure. It'll be great.
It's actually a chapter. I'm writing my 3rd book right now. And one of the chapters in the book is actually trade shows. I know exactly. Watch this, because it's talking about being great at certain things, right? And I'm really talking about, hey, how to be great at a trade show. This is what you do before, this is what you do during, and this is what you do after. And I believe that the human piece is going to be very important, but I'm really glad to hear that we can create an environment where all people can feel safe. That's going to be key.
That is key. And the virtual isn't just for meetings and events. It's for shopping. It's for, looking at cars. It's for anything. I mean, it can apply to any and every industry, and it's going to blow up. I'm sure it is already blowing up.
Yeah.
We just don't all see it.
Well, how should so as a branding expert, Janie, why don't you walk people through, like, if I'm owner of a company, how could I best use virtual to tell my story in 2021 and moving forward, and not feel like I'm wasting money, right? I don't want to feel like I'm creating all this stuff that is going to be obsolete 6 months from now. How can I make a great investment, tell a great story that has, a little longevity to it? What would you tell those people?
It's almost like your website. And, where would these companies be without a website? 20 years ago, people were frantic, like, oh my gosh, I need a website. Well, soon it's going to be, I need to extend my brand into a more interactive space in order to get a whole new, assembly of people that's what they're looking for. We will become accustomed to doing, we already are becoming accustomed to doing things online. We're meeting right now online. So I would say a beautiful thing about it is that you can take components of these massive, you can always add to it. Number one, you can start with a virtual space that's very small. Maybe it's just a room and it has a few widgets, right? It can always be added onto. It's imaginative. It's never ending. But it also has snippets that you can pull and use in social media. You can package them and deliver them however you wish, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, doesn't matter. But it's the components are like little bites of information and messaging that extends your brand and your voice.
Okay. So where does this live? You've done this great job. You created this virtual information space. Now it can be obviously part of a trade show, right? But now, say it's 6 months, 9 months from now, and maybe they're not needing it so much for a virtual trade show. Does that now live on their website? Does it live on YouTube? Or where is this virtual content going to live?
Yes, it lives on their website typically. Although you bring up YouTube a lot, if we're doing a lot of videos, almost everything is pulling in from YouTube. So it's just actually giving legs to like people who are already using YouTube. It gives you, a deeper connection and, extending that value from YouTube into something bigger. So yeah, but it lives on their website. Usually we recommended like a separate domain that's connected, so it's actually, it's a new piece. It's a new part of your brand.
Okay. So when it comes to branding, which I'm so glad you're on, because branding is so important, right? When it comes to branding and you're doing a virtual piece, what's the key thing you want someone to walk away from once they go into virtual space and they leave? What do you want them to know about the brand? What are the key takeaways? What are the key calls to action? Like, what are you trying to do when someone enters a virtual space like that?
This episode of the Office Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Fusion Advisory. We help commercial contractors generate leads online profitably. Check us out at fusion-advisory.com.
We need to grab their attention as quickly as if we were on the trade show floor, and knowing you have 3 seconds when that person's walking by. So the content is organized in a fashion like there's hierarchy, just like there is on a website, just like there is in a booth space. So we don't treat it any differently. It's still, the tenets of branding, your messaging, your consistency, your clarity. If it's product you're selling, boom, we want you within, 1 or 2 clicks right where you need to be. And there's a lot of training involved for the people who are on the client side of this. Not a lot of training, but just so they understand the importance of this isn't a quick fix. This isn't just a placeholder to, until you're back on the trade show floor. Like this is an additional way for you to sell your products and services. Use it and, promote it and get people comfortable. Like you can right away chat with somebody in sales and say, I need this product today. Can you help me? Just like you can on a website. But it's so much cooler because you're in the room and you can turn around and you can see the underside of the product. You can turn it, it's just so much cooler.
All right. Help me with that though. So are we doing this with goggles on, or what are we doing?
No.
Janie? Okay. We're doing
it's
this.
Really just, you are clicking a button, you're zooming in, you're turning around, you're in a 3D world, and it can be as imaginative or as realistic as you want. Like we take a booth that we've already built and we design in 3D. So we have those components and we just, make it grow. But the cooler way is to take something just totally off the wall, and you can be in outer space, you can be underwater, it's unlimited.
I like it. Well, I don't know if I have too many dreams where I'm underwater breathing that I don't know if I want that one, but I do. I like the way you're thinking, super outside the box. My belly as a marketer tells me that we are going to learn so much from this virtual experience that I think where I'm going with this, where I almost feel like we're going to learn how to we're going to learn how to tell virtual stories and how to do virtual immersion. And that's going to be a whole new industry. I really believe that you guys are positioned great for this, but you're also positioned for the fact that we want to go back to human interactions. Like we want to get back
Absolutely.
to that human connection. So what are some tips you can give people that maybe are booking, live? Like I said, I'm speaking at 8 conferences this fall. How do you help people get back ready for live presentations?
How do we get people ready? Just like we were building a new booth for you, it's the same, we start with concepting, what's your message at this show? Who's your audience? The same story, but there'll be more video. There'll be more of an interface in your booth. Let's say you have salespeople, there's a line waiting for people, to talk to these salespeople. What are they going to do while they're waiting? Well, sometimes, you hand out bottles of water or whatever. But why not give them an iPad and say, hey, check this out. You can explore our virtual world while you're waiting to talk to our sales consultant, or, here, play this game and you can win a prize, right? that's the other thing you can play games on it. It's just like,
Good.
take a survey,
I hope
be entered to win a
people,
prize.
I love that. I mean, I think that the more interactive on so many different levels, it's going to connect to different people. Some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I love this tech connection. Whereas some people are going to be like, I don't really care about a tech connection. I just want to read your face and believe, do you believe in your product? And I think that's one thing that, one of the reasons why people go to trade shows is they kind of want to see, feel, and touch. They want to go like, are you guys full of malarkey? Or like, is this really a good product? They want to see fit and finish, right? I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons why we do that. We don't do it just because we want to go shake hands and be around 60,000 people. We kind of are skeptics, and we want to call BS on stuff. And that's what we have to do when we see it face to face, right?
It's like buying a mattress, You'd really like to try that out before you don't want to pay shipping. So
absolutely. That's a conversation my wife and I have, because we have a mattress right now that my back doesn't hurt. And my wife's like, well, we need a new mattress. And I'm like, I don't know. I sleep every night and my back doesn't hurt. But I would definitely have to go face to face and go test a million before we bought a new one. But that's what it's all about. It really is. All right. So what's a great piece as people sort of move from virtual to hybrid through this space? What's a good piece of advice you can give anyone that's trying to spread their brand, whether it be through a virtual solution or through a trade show solution?
It's so competitive now that the concise message is everything. You have so much to say about your product and you're really excited about it. But it's so important to drill it down into, the smallest bites. And you might have a lot to say, but you can always use that in different punches. Like social media is a great example for that. Like, so you did this huge presentation and you want to blast it out to everybody. It's too much content, an email blast that's like 3 pages long. Nobody wants to read all that. They just want that blurb that's, shows your confidence and your expertise. So I think that's a consistent message from us as marketers and branders, that we are always trying to minimize the words. The picture is really important. The message is very important, but it needs to be concise. And so you have a lot to say. Let's just use it in many different ways. We can use all of it, but you hire us to package it in these little bites that make sense to people. And that's how you grow your brand. I was listening to an interview the other day, and this guy said that the brand is actually what other people perceive you to be. It's not your idea. So if you're not consistent and you don't have a concise message, the impression you're giving, you could have thousands or millions of different brands, but what you want to put out there is concise so that there's more of a cohesive comprehension from the other side, from your consumers.
I like that. No, I think I've heard that before. It's like marketing is what you say about your product and branding is what people say about your product, like, or something, or it's overly simplified, but
right.
It's
well,
kind
if
of
you're
like
an Apple user or you're a Microsoft user and you're devoted to that brand, you're like brand married to Apple or to Microsoft for certain reasons, but they're your reasons. But their identities are so crystal clear that there's probably not a ton of variation on either side of fandom.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I was actually, you'll appreciate this. I'm a huge Elvis fan. Elvis and I have the same birthday, January 8th. And so as a kid, as a kid, there were only, 3 or 4 channels on TV. So we'd eat dinner and watch, Blue Hawaii. I mean, that's what we would do. And so this past weekend, every once in a while, I'll listen to an album start to finish the way it was recorded. And I listened to Elvis Presley, 1972, live at Madison Square Garden. Awesome. Right. And as a marketing and branding person, I kept listening this going like, this guy is a genius. Like this guy is a branding expert. Every song was between 2 minutes and 4 minutes. Like he even knew attention span. He sang Proud Mary. He did a modified version of Hound Dog. He did like, he ad-libbed. He wore a black leather jumpsuit. Like he had, you know, charm and charisma and connection. And I'm like, I could write an entire book about this one concert. It was brilliant, absolute brilliance. Like that man knew branding before people even knew what the branding word was.
Yes.
It was fun. So I hope anybody listening, seriously, you just have to go back and listen. Just start out by listening to Suspicious Minds. And, and Elvis is just the ultimate marketer. He's so charming and smooth and just, he was the ultimate.
Maybe that should be your approach when you're doing these speaking events coming up. You should kind of take the Elvis approach.
Oh my gosh. He's
maybe sing a song or two.
he's just the king. That charisma and that talent and just the voice that he had and his ability to deliver it is absolutely amazing. But like if any business here could listen, I don't care if you're a general contractor or manufacturing furniture or no matter what you do, there's something to be learned there. Understand your audience, cater to your audience, create content that your audience wants, right? I mean, that's what our job is.
Yeah. And I want to say confidence, but I also see it as, and I hear this, I've heard it on a number of your shows where people always bring up humility and being humble. Like you can be confident and still be humble. And that seems to be kind of today's world. Like you got to have trust. You've got to be trustworthy. You got to put yourself out there and be strong about it. But I think humility is key too.
Oh yeah. I'm amazing at being humble. I'm probably the best at being humble, Janie. I mean, nobody in the world, nobody in the history of the world has been humble like me. I mean, really, I'm
bingo.
Well, you know what? I think when I hit my 60s, I'll start working on my humility. No, actually, I am extremely humbled to spend time with you because I told you even in our pre-talk, I was really looking forward to talking to you because I think branding and virtual shows and live shows are great. Your energy is incredible. Can you give us what's your hack? What do you do to keep your mindset positive, Janie? What's your personal hack? Because you really are. It comes through.
Thank you so much. Movement is key for me. And, you know, I, like everybody or most people, I forget, you know, and then I catch myself like, I need to work out. I need yoga. Even if I don't have time, 10 minutes of yoga does it. I'm back, you know, quiet everything else and, you know, clear the clutter, which is another thing I'm pretty sensitive to is my physical space. And I'm sure that has something to do with why I do what I do for work. But, you know, you move furniture around if you need to, or put a plant in a different window. Like it's just, sometimes you just need to, your space has to change, whether you're in an office or you're at your home office or it's just your home. Like I can feel it when I walk into someone's house and it's messy. And, you know, I don't even know their stuff, but I can just feel like, oh my gosh, we need to fix this. Right? It doesn't affect everybody, but it does affect me. And that definitely makes me have a better day and a nicer person to be around. So.
Me and my oldest daughter and I, we would both agree with you 100%. Like, are you a person that's picky on where you sit in a restaurant too? Like, do you care where your seat is?
I used to, but my mother is so much like that. And we joke about it, but I try not to. But yes, I do. I want to be facing a certain way. I don't really want to be next to the kitchen. I'd rather sit at the bar if those are my options. So
I think feng shui is an energy. I think I think I can walk into a room and feel it. I've read, you know, probably 3 or 4 books on feng shui. And when I did, I was like, oh, that's me. Like, I know if I'm in a space with water, if I'm in a space with curves, or if I'm in a space without angles facing me, like I feel that peace. And I don't know if everybody does, but I know that it hits me more sensitively than most people. Like
and you do need to change it. You know, it might be fine today, but as the season changes and the light changes in the room, you're just like, you know, it's not effective. And then
Love
you
it.
just gotta shift things around a little bit.
I love it. I love it. Is there a book that you could recommend?
I'm more of a cookbook type person.
Please share a cookbook, Janie. We'd love it. That's great. I
Okay.
want a cookbook. Hey, if it's Bobby Flay or Emerald, I'm a fan, but you probably have something slightly more evolved than those boys. So what do you got?
Well, I don't like, I have two. I mean, traditionally, Julia Child's The French Cookbook, it's based on her series, like the whole year or two of every show is mapped out and with every recipe from that show. And you can hear her voice and she's so witty and the food is amazing. And it's just like super traditional, really good French. And but conversely, in probably more contemporary is Otto Lengi. He's just like, he's Israeli and he has several cookbooks, but I think my favorite is called Plenty. And it's just everything's about color. And I could spend hours making a really complex sauce or layering. Like sometimes we don't eat till very late at night because I just get carried away. But like his food, he uses so many ingredients and in the right way. You can have too much on the plate and it's like, this is like, it's just a thing of beauty. He uses so much color and texture and it forces you to try new things. Like I made a dish the other day that had soba noodles with grilled eggplant and mango and eggplant. Like how would you ever think to put those together? But it was so good.
Okay. All right.
So those are my two.
All right. We got to share in the show notes. We're going to share a recipe. Okay. I need you to send me the links to the books that you like because I think I love it. Obviously I'm a foodie. I'm a huge, I love cooking too, but, and you and I could probably do a whole show on that too, but maybe that's next time. All right. So you have to send me the links, send me one of your favorite recipes. I'll put it in the notes and it'll be great. So how else would people get in touch with you? Really, it's Studio 1011, email, LinkedIn. What's the best?
My email is Janie, Janie at studio1011.com and LinkedIn, of course. So I'm all over the place. I'm on Instagram and a few places and Facebook and all that stuff, but those are the most simplified.
All right, good. So if you want to talk, if you guys want to talk to an absolute, just an extremely kind, intelligent person about branding, about trade shows, virtually telling your story, or if you just need help with, taglines or creating content, Janie brings so much to the table, guys. Like she's what a great resource and really a joy to be around, Janie. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
All right. Well, have a good day and thanks again.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Office Marketing Podcast. Be sure to join the conversation on our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed the episode, head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.